Hey guys, it's Adam here. Welcome to the second video in the Disc Golf Valley Player Toolbox. This video is all about the throwing function. Before we get into our video, I just want to say I want to start posting these videos regularly now that I'm back from my summer endeavors. And so I will be pre-recording a bunch of these and hopefully getting these off scheduled once a week or so. Maybe 2 of them a week, we'll see. So just give it a heads up, I am going to be kicking these into gear again. And I didn't really get them going too much, but that also petered out with summer and other things that I had going on in my life. So get excited for that. Also, I do want to say that I will be starting another series in tandem with this one. It's meant to complement it. It's called Chump to Champ. And basically the idea is I actually have tanked my ELO down to bronze. I'm in bronze ELO right now. I already got to Champ Div this season, so you'll see the Champ logo and everything. But basically what I want to do is I want to rank up through bronze all the way to top 100 in multiplayer and show you the different skills within each ranking that different things you want to know to get better as a player. So in the bronze category, I'll be giving tips on how to, understand the mechanics and how to maybe throw in. I don't know. Basically, I'm going to give tips relevant to each skill level so that, and what I've learned so that you can help progress. I can help you progress through the game. But anyways, all that to say, let's get into this video now. Get excited. There's things in the woodworks here. It's just, to give me some time on this. So, here we go. I'm going to pick... So last video we looked at the putting function. So you took the putter or mid or whatever you want. You select the putt function. You grab it. You pull back and you pull forward. And you aim that. We also looked at some utilities for it, like around the world putting, which is like going around obstacles. You can putt through objects sometimes, which is pretty handy in some situations. But really, Disc Golf Valley... only 5% of the game is putting, at best. 95% of the game is really about throwing the disc well. And you can do so much by just throwing the disc well. If you only putt in the putting function, you will never be a good player in this game. But if you can throw well, that can do so much for you. So let's get into the types of throws you can throw. I'm going to use my Accurate Glide Sapphire as a demo disc, because it's neutral flying, and then I'll show you some other discs briefly as well. So yeah, when you're selecting, it says putt, backhand, or forehand. So this is all for the right-hand backhand player. Left-hand backhand, just, mirror everything I'm doing. But for the right-hand backhand, you'll notice that the picture of the hand with the disc and everything. You'll also notice up by my pullback disc, there's a green arrow pointing to the left. That's meant to indicate for you which way your disc is going to want to finish at the end of its flight, generally speaking. And the reason why the disc finishes that way, so with the right-hand backhand, it's going to finish left. And the reason why it wants to go to the left is because of the spin you're putting on it, the clockwise spin you're putting on it. With your forehand, you're putting a counterclockwise spin on as a righty, and therefore it's going to want to finish the opposite direction. And that's just because of air resistance and spin and how it affects the way the disc flies. I don't know the full science behind it, but anyway, I don't know why I keep selecting putt. Sorry about that. There's backhand and forehand, as I just showed you. Now, your backhand is going to go about 85%, your forehand is only going to go about 85% of your total backhand. It doesn't go quite as far. Now, with the Sapphire, I'll show you an example here. So if I pull back straight on backhand on this tree, and I get decent ground play here, that's a moderate slide, I'm at 132. If I go forehand, I'm actually going to aim to the right or left so I avoid those rocks so I don't stop early. If I get a moderate slide as well, that's a huge slide and a skip. So I'm probably about 130 here. Oh, 125. So I'm down by like 10 meters there. So it's about Now, with every disc, it's different how it compares. But basically, overall, what you're looking at is quite a bit different distance. Now, with my distance drivers, my Skippy distance drivers, the farther flying discs that go the farthest, watch the difference. So with a backhand, let's go backhand here first. You know, right, kind of a decent flight here. With the backhand, we've got ourselves, I don't want to park this. Please don't go under the basket. Oh, no, no, no. Okay, 189. Let's rethrow this on a forehand. If we throw this on a forehand, here's what it looks like. That's quite a bit different. See? 171. So the farther flying your disc, the more the difference will be. And that's because it's percentage difference, right? Anyways, back to the main point, the types of throws now. So if you, I'm going to do everything off of the backhand now, from now on, because the forehand's the same, it's just all shorter flying. And has different kind of, I mean, it's all the same. It's just on a forehand instead of a backhand. So here for the backhand, you have 4 different types of throws, categories of throws, I should say. And then within that, you have different types, you could say. So you have the straight shot, you have the hyzer, you have the anhyzer, and you have the roller. I'm going to do a separate video on each type of shot. I'm going to do a video on rollers. I'm going to do a video on anhyzer shots. So some examples of anhyzer shots include flex shots, turnovers, stuff like that. Rollers, you got cut roller, sky roller, and then anything around that as well. With straight shots, you have shots that are going to want to hyzer more on the straight pullback. It changes based on how high you aim. By the way, all these shots change based on the height you aim it at. Height and angle are the 2 ways that your disc is affected, and also power. Height, angle, and power are your variables, and then obviously the 4th variable, and the most important one, is how you aim all that to get to the basket. Height, angle, power, and aim. Aim is bringing all those things together to get where you want to go. So, and then obviously you can factor in wind, but I'm just going to leave wind out of the equation for the purposes of this video. And then with hyzer, you have a pushing hyzer, you have a sharp hyzer, you have a spike hyzer, you have different hyzer flip, you have different hyzer shots you can do as well. And so I will go through each category with its own video because it all deserves it. Except for maybe, I just do want to say with straight shots, you would do well to mainly use straight shots in your game. I would say a big mistake you can make as a player as you're progressing is to start playing around with angles too early in your game. Learn the straight shot first and then work in your angles after, and I think that'll really help you to really dial in your distances, because angles will change a lot of things. Excuse me. And angles add a lot of variables. But if you're throwing straight shots as you're learning your discs, it'll help you to be able to predict better how they're going to fly so you can get closer to the basket. But if you're constantly shifting angles all the time, it's hard to know how your discs are always going to fly. Now, at the end of the day, you do want to know how to use angle on your discs. But I think when you're starting out and when you're a newer player, try to use straight shots for a while and just see how it goes. I think you'd be surprised at how helpful it can be in your game. As far as the height of aiming, I will talk on that because that applies to everything you're doing. The higher you aim, the more your disc is going to stall out and hyzer. The lower your aim, the more your disc is going to want to turn and instead of hyzer. It's going to want to turn when you aim low. It's going to want to hyzer when you aim high. It's going to eventually, if you aim high enough, it's going to stall out and go shorter. And eventually, if you aim too low, it's going to hit the ground and not go very far at all. And so too high or too low changes a lot of things as well. And so here's an example. Let me show you an example of the height of your aim mattering more than maybe an average hole. Let's pick a hole where height is really important. Let's go with Northern Breeze 4. I think it's 4. Yes. I'm not going to use I want to use a neutral wind here for this. Let's get these 3 winds out of here. Here we go. Now, you see this 158 here. Oh yeah, straight at the basket. Let's go. Boom. And it hyzers out, and oh, that's not very close to the basket. And I actually went out of bounds. What was the problem? I aimed too high and it hyzered out. Also, notice this hole is really long and downhill. And so because of that, even though I'm kind of throwing it straight, I'm so high up in the air, it's going to have so much time to go to the left. The higher you give it, the more height you give it, the more time it has to fight back. Now, some discs want to fight more than others. So, for example, if I threw my captain here, it's going to want to turn a lot more than average discs. Imagine if I ace this right now, that'd be gross. If I throw my Raptor, it does the opposite. It's going to want to go left more than the average disc. Now, I'm using the Sapphire because it's a neutral flying disc, meaning it goes pretty straight overall. But the reason I'm showing you these discs is to show you because the angle matters, but also the disc matters in this game as well. And you want, I mean, one of the things I like to do is let the disc do the work. There's multiple ways you can get a disc to fly, and there's multiple ways to shape a disc. One of them is based on how the disc naturally flies. Another one is the angle you put on it. And the third is a combination of the two. And so, anyways, let me get back to this hole here. So, if I aim lower, a little bit lower now on the basket, per se, it's going to turn more, and then it's going to start to come back more. Kind of still awkward because of the fairway. Now, here's my aim point on this hole. Ready? Get ready for this. Boom. Down here. That's right. When I aim it down here, you think it's going to just be weird? It's going to ram into these trees straight in front of me? No, actually, because I'm aiming down, it's going to want to turn more. And so I'm shaping this fairway by aiming lower instead of putting angle on it. Now, I could put angle on it and do it, probably. Let me just try. So if I'm up here, I could put like a bunch of angle on. And actually, you know what? I hit the line. And it even finished left, and it's more dangerous, right? And so by aiming it low there, it doesn't want to fight back at the end of its flight as well. That's another thing. And so because I aimed it low, it wants to finish pretty straight by the basket there. I actually let it go left on me at the start there, so that was just me being impatient with my pullback. Also, another thing, on this hole especially, you got the OB left. Another reason you aim low here instead of putting angle on, other than making it easier to, hit the gap, is it stays below the wind, and it's going to settle down sooner so that you're not too worried about going long. Going long isn't as much of an issue as if you're aiming up here with the same disc with a bunch of angle on it. So if I put a bunch of angle on it up here, obviously there's more danger in this hole if you aim it higher because it can hit trees and then kick off OB early. If you hit a tree low and you kick off of it low, then you're actually still safe. Like if I kick off this tree, boom, I'm safe. Now if I kick off of it way higher in the air, like maybe this, kick off of a tree. Oh, I didn't kick off any tree. Oh, I didn't kick off anything. Wow. Just got through everything somehow. Let's try that again. Wow, did I literally do this exact same shot? I'm pretty sure I did. Wow, that was crazy. Third time's the charm? Third time in a row? So I hit the tree really high, and it kicked more off. It was more pronounced. So here's a good example. This holds a good example of why your height matters as well. But yeah. So anyways, that's essentially the throwing function. Oh, and one more thing on that. When you power down your disc, it's going to want to become more overstable. So, for example, if I play my Sapphire, I go straight back, full power. It has that S, right? That neutral flight. The flight on the disc, and the flight that spin-off kind of shows you, if you look at the pullback here, it says straight. It has a straight up and down arrow. If I use my captain, it has this straight, and it has a curvy arrow. And my hyzer actually has a straight arrow. So they do actually show you the general flight of the disc. But those visuals are for full power shots. If I power this disc down, even though it says it's going to go right on a straight shot, watch. It doesn't. It goes left. And it just dumps left. That's because when you power down a disc, it becomes more overstable. Because it doesn't have as much spin on it anymore. So if I powered on the Sapphire to maybe a halfway power, it doesn't really want to S much. It mostly wants to go left, as you see. And if I power down even more, let's go maybe to here, it wants to go left even more. So that's also something to keep in mind. You can use this to your advantage, actually, by powering down understable discs. So, for example, if I power down my Skip Captain, look at that. It flies nice and straight now instead of going to the right a bunch, and then it skips straight. So you can use that to your advantage on certain holes. I can also power down my Light Glide Paradigm. I like to power down my Paradigm, and it's really good for hitting gaps and distance control and stuff like that. If you have an understable disc, try powering it down. That can unlock a whole new thing in your game. But anyways, so the factors for your throwing function. So this is how you throw. You aim it with your pullback. You use the Wi-Fi bands for your power. You put your angle on that you want. Here are the variables that you're considering. Let's try to ace run Sunshine Glade 1 here to finish out the video. 61 meters. I'm going to use my standard aim point. I like to use angle on this shot. I found a spot where it flickers between straight and hyzer, and then it goes right. I want to go right where it says straight. So then I'm waiting for the sway. By the way, see how the camera's swaying around? That changes where your aim point is. So you'll want to watch the sway sometimes as well. So then one of the variables that I had was power, and I go full power. So that's one of the variables done. Another variable is angle, and I've just decided on my angle I'm going to throw. Another variable is the disc you're throwing to get the job done as well. So I didn't quite make it there. Yeah. In order to get good at this game, you want to try to control your variables as much as possible. The reason why I don't ace run this with a power down shot, say 61 up here, I can do that with the fuse power down. You can see I almost made that. Let's try that again. This used to be my ace run, by the way. I used to run it like this. Fuse power down. It can get there. I just basically didn't put enough power that time. But I had to put a touch of hyzer on that angle, and it was a guesswork. You want to try to eliminate guesswork as much as possible when you're learning to throw your disc well. You want to have predictability. And with me doing a little lofty hyzer bid like that, it becomes a lot of guesswork. Now, I happen to have a good feel in this game, but feel is something that's really hard to develop as a player, and so you don't want to rely on feel completely. You want your feel to be informed from how you've also kind of analyzed and you know, ways that you've, at least that's what I like to do. I don't like to, it's like poker players. Whenever they're in doubt, they go with their gut. I have a poker background, so I know what it's like. I used to play in tournaments and stuff like that. And one of the things poker players do is they learn to develop and go. They learn to go with their gut. The problem is if Joe Schmo goes with his gut and goes all in, the problem is he doesn't really actually know why he's doing that, and he's just, you know, his gut is just, I feel good right now. He's going based off feeling. Now with the poker player's gut, it's based off of information, and it's based off of careful study, and it's based off of a bunch of factors leading up to that. And they have developed their gut over time to be accurate instead of misleading. As I continue to whiff this fuse. And so when you're developing feel in Disc Golf Valley, it's kind of like your gut. You needed to develop it. If you're going to go with feel, you need to develop it first by experimenting and by learning distances and all this stuff. And then as you go along, your feel will get better. Like, I know that about this much power, this fuse will go straight on a straight pullback. That was pretty straight. I know that if I put about this much power, it's going to drift to the right a little bit first and then go straight. See, that was just feel for me. And that's something that you want to kind of do. Now, I used to throw forehand fuse in this hole. And why I did this is because it eliminated the variable of the power. I could go full power no matter what. And so that was the appeal for me. Now, I have since adjusted things a bit. But look, it's full power. Less to think about. So when you're developing your game, I would encourage you to try to control the variables as much as you can. And so, yeah, anyways, this is a long rant. I don't know what it's turning into, but basically it was supposed to be types of shots, and then I just told you basically a bunch about how to play the game. So yeah, anyways, we'll go into the categories a bit more in future videos, but I kind of wanted to announce some things also coming up. And so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned maybe something from this clunky little video, and we'll see you in the next one.